views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hey everybody, how are you? Welcome to Open BxRx, our special coverage of COVID-19, also known as the coronavirus, and how it's impacting our Bronx community. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee, and coming up on today's show, elections are approaching, and we'll talk to the Campaign Finance Board for information about how to practice and how to participate, how to do your civic duty in a safe way. We'll learn about a mentoring program after that for youth and how it has moved online and how you can partake. And then we're going on one-on-one life coach for discussion on navigating during times of uncertainty. And after that, we'll check out how youth can get involved in reading and books through social media. Bobby C has the sports, the latest in the sports. And later on, we'll see how well one man is doing, how he decided to use fitness and raise money and awareness as we continue to fight COVID-19. Stay tuned. All this and more is headed your way because we are now open. Good morning and welcome back. I'm the Doc Bob Lee. I'm here with Sabrina Castillo, Director of Partnership and Outreach for New York City Campaign Finance Board. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you?
Good morning, Bob. Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing well, staying home and just following all the social distancing rules. So doing well. How are you doing?
All dressed up and nowhere to go.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a tough thing to stay home, and people, they look forward to trying to stay home and take care of some of the things that they couldn't take care of while they were running around working. But we had to move the elections back. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we had to move the elections back. First and foremost, we wanted to make sure that we really understood how to keep people safe. And we knew that as the pandemic really started to take over the city, that was something we were not going to be able to do if we had elections. So the first thing we did is the elections that were going to happen in April and the special elections that were happening before that were moved to June 23rd. This giving us the time to really be able to prepare around elections, not just from an operational standpoint, vote, and how is it that people really want to make sure that they're able to participate, but how are we going to give people all the right information that they need to do that during this time?
So what do people need to do? How do they go to get that information on the issues and all the other things that they need to make that point to exercise their right to vote?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of things that people need to do. The first thing people need to do is understand how the elections are going to happen. So they're going to happen in June. And the first change that came out right after changing the dates was the fact that every person who is registered and eligible to vote will be able to vote via absentee. This means that people will be able to vote by mail. So there is a process, though. It is a two-step process for people to be able to do that. And there are some challenges that we're still trying to manage through, organize around. And so I'll walk you through those. But the two-step process is that people have to request the application and fill it out. You're not applying for anything. You're automatically able to do so. And you're going to put temporary illness as you send that in. And then
so how do you request that?
So you go to voting.nyc.
Okay.
And you click on how to vote. When you click on how to vote, it's going to take you to the areas on where you have to download the form. Bob, I have to be really honest. This is where some of those challenges are going to come in. People are going to print it, and you need a printer, and there's people who don't have printers. So we're working to see specifically.
Wait a minute. I have a printer.
Okay.
It's down right about now. So
Yeah,
that's a problem.
That's a problem. We are optimistic and hopeful that the Board of Elections is going to come up with a digital version of this. But for now, if you do have a printer, I wouldn't wait until those changes come down. I would request
Get it done now.
The application now on voting.nyc and make sure that you have that. And then you'll receive a ballot before the election, and then you'll mail that in, and that'll be your vote. And so this is a new process for people. They're really trying to make sure that you have all of that. So like I said, there's still some more changes that are going to come down. One of them potentially being able to do this digitally via email or fax. But those are not in place right now. It doesn't mean they won't happen, and we're hopeful and optimistic that they will happen, because it's something that they're actively working on doing.
And you think by June they'll have the physical apparatus in place where people can, if they let us come out, we can come out and vote the old-fashioned way?
That is still something that they're working on. For now, people will be able to. There will be poll sites open, and I'm sure there will be requirements and ways to be able to keep people safe.
Yeah.
So that is at the forefront of the city, making sure that everyone is safe and still being able to practice. We do have early voting, so there will be more opportunity for people to be able to practice social distancing while voting. So that was something that came into place last year, and was the first time that we did that. And it was something that now is really going to come in and help us, because we have 10 days to be able to cast a vote. And so with the right operations in place, that is something that will be an option for people.
How about absentee voting?
So absentee voting right now, before you needed an excuse. So before the pandemic, you could only vote via an excuse.
Right.
Now, everyone who's registered to vote and is eligible to vote, so you have to be 18 years old, a citizen. You have to be 18 by the
November.
Or by the election. So if you're voting in June, you need to be 18 by the election in June.
Yeah.
You need to register to vote, and then you'll be able to request this application. Everyone will be able to vote via absentee, which is vote by mail. So you will have the opportunity to click on their temporary illness. And that is what Governor Cuomo came out with late last week, of introducing this method to making sure that people are able to stay safe. So right now, everyone can just do this if they feel like this is the safest way for their families to be able to participate. One of the things that we're realizing is that areas that have low voter participation are also some of the areas that are being hit the hardest during this pandemic. And so it is important for everyone to really take ownership of this power that we all have if you are eligible to vote.
Yeah, makes you say, what's going on here?
Exactly.
How are we getting the word out other than
BxRx? Yeah, there are some. How we're getting the word out is, one, there's a couple of things that we're doing at the agency. We're trying to make sure that we're still doing everything that we can to be able to do information via email and social media and text messaging. However, one of the ways that we used to be able to really get the word out was through field organizing, right? We used to go and knock on people's doors. We're not able to do that right now. So we will be launching digital grassroots campaigns where we'll be texting people, we'll be asking people to pledge to vote, we'll be sending reminders. We want to make sure that we create all the platforms for people to receive this information, as easy and as efficiently as possible.
Seems like this is information overload. We're dealing with this COVID virus
Yes.
Pandemic, and we're dealing with census, and we're dealing with all these other things, healthcare, and now we have to get out there and vote. So it seems like there's a huge mix of a smorgasbord of things that people need to do, but they have to put it in line and do it and get it done, because it's all important.
Yeah, I think when you name all the things, like I have to fill out the census, I have to register to vote, I have to vote, and then I have to make sure that I'm doing everything. It sounds overloading, but if you just follow like the steps, for example, the census. I recently took the census a few weeks ago, and it literally took me less than 10 minutes. So I think like if we really organize it, do a to-do list, pick a day of the week where you do your civic action.
Prioritize and just get it done.
Yeah, pick like, Tuesdays for like you to be able to do all your civic duties. Make sure that you fill out your census and that you're registered to vote. If you want to register to vote, you can go to voting.nyc and get the form there. Unfortunately, we do not have online voter registration in New York. You're only able to register online if you have a DMV ID and a customer login, which we all know most people in New York don't. And so we do have a student of ours who's a leader, and she's launched a petition for governor state leaders to be able to implement online voter registration, because right now that is also another challenge. And so what we're really working on is, if you're a leader, if you're able to really organize within your neighbors, if you're able to send text messages to your friends and make phone calls, right now we're going to have to rely on each other to get these messages out, because we're not going to be walking down and seeing the billboards on the subways and the streets and all the ways that we're accustomed to receiving information.
Hey, we appreciate you so much. Thank you for all that great information that you just gave us just now.
Thank you so much. Just any questions, voting.nyc.
Voting.nyc.
And just pick one day a week to do your civic duty, and we'll get there together.
Say it again, voting.nyc.
Voting.nyc.
Thank you so much, Sabrina.
Thank you,
Sabrina
Doctor.
Castillo, Director of Partnership and Outreach from the New York City Campaign Finance Board. Thank you so much, and we appreciate you. Stay safe, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Welcome back. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee, and our next guest is the founder and CEO of Freedom Youth LLC. Joins us today with information on their virtual support groups and a whole lot more. They've got it going on. We welcome Monique Ferguson Riley to the show. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Yes. Hi. Thank you. Thank you for having me today. I appreciate you guys for always thinking of me.
Yeah, tell us more about your organization, though. Let everybody know about what's going on with this organization.
Yes, absolutely. So we're doing a lot of things have changed. We are working and operating remotely. One of the things that we're working on right now is our Teen Talk, and it basically is a virtual support group for our youth that used to be on, obviously in person, but now we're all moved on to, so like we're using Zoom and different ways to be able to reach out to the youth.
Can't wait to get it back though in person. All right.
Yeah, definitely. It is missed. A lot of people miss seeing each other, and the hugs and things of that nature is obviously absent. But they're doing a lot online. So what we're doing is our Teen Talk offers weekly support groups for teens and young adults. We're working with young adults ages 12 through 17 years old. They're basically talking about topics that affect them. It's a virtual support group and a safe space for the participants to speak with the group of their peers who are experiencing similar issues. Yes. So that's kind of where we are with
concerns right now. What are some of the things that, of course,
graduation is the biggest topic ever. They are upset. A lot of them work really hard. A lot of them made valedictorian, and so they're really upset about that. Some of them purchased their prom dresses and outfits, and it's just going to sit in the closet. And so they're really, really angry about that. That's one of the biggest conversations that typically continues to come up.
So how do you think we're going to get it done? When you guys had the conversation, what came up? Are you going to do a virtual prom or?
Well, we
wait
haven't
till
really
things
talked
clear
about that.
out?
A lot of the students are talking about how their parents are going to like throw something at home for them or something of that nature. But I think a virtual graduation might be great. That's a really good idea that I can bring up to the group.
Yeah. Got to do something, right? You got to use Zoom the best way we can. Everybody's on it now.
Everybody's doing it. We do have a couple of social workers that volunteer their time, and I just wanted to send out a great thank you to them. We couldn't do it without them, and they are definitely there. We're looking for 2 more individuals that will be willing to, give us a hand and support some of the youth that we work with. We're now starting to get a lot of enrollment, seeing that a lot of kids are now remotely online. Parents have started to reach out to us, and we would be willing to take on 2 more volunteers if possible.
Yeah. What type of volunteer are you looking for?
Anyone with a social worker, peer counseling, someone who have experience with teens, who work with teens, after school program type of field. That's kind of what we're looking for right now.
Yeah. And then you have another campaign that you've been working on, right? The Beef It Up campaign. Talk about that.
Absolutely. Yes. So we believe that, during COVID-19, the pandemic, of course, is causing a lot of chaos for many people. But we believe that the most vulnerable domestic violence and human trafficking victims and survivors, they don't really have access to a lot of things, but some of them may have access to their social media sites and things of that nature. We're hoping by sharing information, all we're doing is asking organizations to beef up on, the materials they put out on human trafficking. What is human trafficking? Or how do I know I'm in a domestic violence relationship? Or how to report it? Safe ways to exit out of these lifestyles. And so we're asking people to put up material on their social media sites, on their websites if they have one, and then put hashtag #BeefItUp2020. We believe that by doing this, we will be helping someone and maybe saving a life or a potential victim.
Yeah. And there's a lot out there. Sometimes you're wrapped up in domestic violence, and you're right. They don't know how to get out of it.
They don't know how to get out.
So,
and we believe that it would definitely help out some people. And I want any and everyone to join the challenge. It would be really great. You can add music. You can do poetry. You can do, special messages. You can actually put up content. All we ask that you hashtag #BeefItUp2020 challenge and then send it over to Freedom Youth on their social media page and Facebook and Instagram.
There you go. What are some of the other programs that you're working on?
So we're doing an outreach right now, and we're doing research. So one of the biggest things that we're doing right now, aside from what else I spoke about, is a research with NYU that's coming up.
Oh.
We're becoming a vendor for NYU, and they're going to be giving us some grant money to do a research on domestic violence and how it applies to those who are experiencing, violence and abusive relationships during COVID-19. We are hoping that it gets published and that someone else can use it as a model on how to deal with domestic violence during any other crisis or pandemic, to say.
What website can we go to see more of what you're doing?
Yes, you can go to freedomyouthnyc.com. You'll find the host of things that are happening and what we're doing and what we're working on. We're also looking to try to get out there more on the street, even though there is, a huge issue. There's also an issue with those who are surviving sex on the street still during COVID-19. And so we still want to be able to hand out condoms to them, hand out information to them, and hopefully be able to get them off the street. So we're working on trying to do more outreach. So if anyone is interested in volunteering their time and don't mind going out and handing out a few condoms in a day, that would be great.
Well,
but
Monique,
that's only kind of there.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all you do. We appreciate your service.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Bobley.
All right. Monique Ferguson Wiley, founder and CEO of Freedom Youth, working with at-risk youth. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
We'll take a break. I've got more next. welcome back. Hey, our next guest is a lifestyle and transformational coach, an author, a speaker. She's been on the show before. I don't know, with all that's going on now, how do you navigate life? Welcome, Georgia Woodbine. We welcome you to the show. She's no stranger to the show. And the last time I saw you, I think we were in January, the month of January, right?
Yes. No one could have predicted what was going to happen now, you know?
Yeah.
You
So,
know,
I mean, what are you doing different now that we are living in this pandemic?
well, you know, this is not the first time we've ever actually experienced a pandemic like this. There was the Spanish flu back in 1918 that basically 500 million people were infected. 50 million people did die. But when you think about these types of influenzas, also the Black Plague, which was in 1347. So they have been these types of pandemics. And I think that's what keeps me with a sense of hope to know that we've been through something like this and we have recovered from something like this. You know, the coronavirus has definitely had a major impact on the world, but I feel that what's happening right now is a global shift of consciousness. Everyone's consciousness level is definitely being tested and it's no longer business as usual. People are starting to look at their life and realizing that there are going to be times in your life where you do not have control. And this interruption of our daily living has left us all vulnerable. There's no doubt about that. But it's also have shown us how interconnected we are as a community and as people. Because right now, everyone is on one plane level. Doesn't matter what race you are, what gender you are, what religion you are, what culture you are. Everybody is in the same place. And that is the place of being fearful of the unknown.
Tough times don't last, but tough people do. Tell us about some of your coaching. What can you do in these times?
It's so funny because one of the things I teach as a lifestyle coach is mindset transformation. And really, you can't change anything unless you change your mindset. What I'm talking about, you cannot change what's going on in the world right now. But what you do have the power to do is change how you're going to respond and change how you're going to react. So I always deal with the mindset because you can't change what you don't confront. So part of what I share with others, and it's so funny, especially now, I have so many people reaching out to me to do interviews because I have been talking about this for over 15 years, about how to prepare yourself for transformation, how to prepare yourself for change. You can't control what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, but you can control how you're going to respond to it. And taking control of your life is always about taking control of your mindset. When you challenge yourself to do something you've never done, you push yourself mentally to think outside of the box. And I believe that's what's happening right now, because you'll see so many things on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook. People are coming up with so many creative ways of how to this new thing, social distancing, which sounds weird because it's social, but it's distancing. And I don't know how you could use that in the same sentence.
Well, social media was a new thing too. Social media, right, where everybody gets involved. And I think we're using social media now more so than ever before. But some people are like, enough, and pulling their hair out, you know. But yes, social distancing, I think we're going to have to be doing that for a while in order to get back in line.
Absolutely. And you know what? It's amazing to think about technology and how we have evolved over the past 10 years or even 15, 20 years to be able to, like you said, in in the 1900s, they didn't have this to connect with their families, to call their loved ones, to FaceTime, to do video. It's this past weekend, I just want to share something personal real quickly, is that my mom called all of us and said, I want to do a prayer. And she's not really savvy with technology and video, but she said she wanted to do it by free conference call. So she actually used this number that we were using 15 years ago to do a prayer line where we would just have people call in and we would pray for people. And she said, I want to do this. And she contacted all the family members, text everyone. We all called into this prayer line on Easter Sunday, which I felt was so needed. And it was so well received by everyone, because I've had people in my family that has been impacted by this virus, as
Sure.
well as a death. So just for us to come together and pray for each other and to share what we're feeling and our emotions with everybody on the phone at the same time, it was like a reunion, but on the telephone. We couldn't see each other, but we could hear each other. And it's so important right now for families to come together.
I think so. But what has changed in your line of business? I know you're into the coaching business, into the life-changing business. You're navigating life, you're also known as a change agent. But how are you using your change agency now under these conditions?
Well, I can say that I thank God, because I've been mentally prepared, meaning I have been through things in life where I have experienced loss of a job, loss of a loved one, health issues. And so it has definitely prepared me for now to be able to inspire, empower, motivate others that, you know what, this too shall pass. You will get through this. Hold on to your faith. I know it's so hard for people. They say it's easier said than done, but This is a time when your faith is being tested, people. And when you have no control over anything that's happening, you have to find solace in that. You have to find peace in that, because what happens is you start to let the media and the news consume your thoughts. And then therefore, that's when all this fear and anxiety kicks in of, am I next? Or who's next? Is it someone I know? Is it someone in my family? And you cannot go on in life with thinking with that mindset. And one of the things I share too with my clients and people that reach out to me is that you could choose two things. One of the two things. You could choose to make this moment paralyze you, or you can choose to make this moment liberate you. And so you have the power of choice, people. That's what you have right now. You have the power of choice of how you're going to do things differently, on how you're going to tell people that you love them and not wait till the last moment, of how you're going to utilize your time more wisely and make things more, prioritize your life and do things that have more meaning. So there are a few tips, and when we get, I'll let you talk, then you tell me. I have some tips on how people can deal with navigating beyond their fears.
Well, give us a few tips.
So the first thing I would have to say is to take a news diet. Now, why I say take a news diet is because I think when you consume your thoughts and you consume your mind, it starts to affect your physical body. So I'm not saying don't watch the news and not to be aware of what's going on. What I'm saying is to be mindful of the times that you're watching the news. Don't watch it early in the morning, and don't watch it before you go to bed, because that's when your thoughts and everything is percolating and moving, and you don't want to have those thoughts in your head when you wake up in the morning and right before you go to bed. Another thing that I've been sharing is try to learn something new, learn a new language, do exercise classes. There's so many free classes on YouTube on different things that you can do to utilize your time. A lot of people have been looking at this from a negative perspective, but I have been looking at it from a positive perspective. How many people that have not sat down and had dinner with their families because they're so inundated and so busy? How many people have not taken walks with their family members, with their children, with their spouses at this particular time? How many people have always wanted the opportunity to work from home, but never had that opportunity, that are now able to do that with their children now. So I choose to look at it in a different perspective. And I think we talked about this last time when I was on your show. There's a quote: when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So you have to change your perspective. Another thing is to embrace solitude. You know, people think that being alone is lonely, and being alone does not have to be lonely. When you embrace solitude, what happens is you can enhance your quality of your relationships with yourself and with others. And by spending time with yourself to gain better understanding of who you are, especially right now, is so important with the choices you're going to make once this has passed.
And who did that better than Mandela? I met
Oh my
Mandela,
goodness.
and I went over to Robben Island over in South Africa, and they showed his jail cell, and they showed some of those items that are still there. For 27 years, he had to get into himself before he got out and became president. For 27 years. So if he can do it for 27 years, I mean, we're isolated or quarantined for about a month now or so. But still,
Yes.
after this quarantine, tell me, how are we going to get out the front door?
Well, I think that, the best way to cope with change is to allow yourself to have a transformational mindset. Life, like I said, everybody's not going to be the same after this. Well, at least I hope not, because I hope that people will use this time to reflect, self-reflect, and self-evaluate, and realize that there's going to be moments in my life where I don't have control. And so therefore I have to surrender to a higher force, a higher power, a higher being beyond myself, to search for meaning of life. There's a book called Man's Search for Meaning. I don't know if you ever read that book, Bob, but it's so important about really finding the meaning about what you're here. And this is what we were talking about before, how to utilize this time to find out what your passion is, to find out what your gifts are, to find out how you can use your gifts and talents right now to share with other people, to inspire other people, to empower other people. People have been talking about, I would like to start a podcast, or I'd like to start a radio show, I'd like to do this, but because of my job, I don't have time. Yeah, now you have time. Now you have time. So use the time wisely. Use the time wisely, people.
Georgia, how can we get more information on what you're doing?
You can go to my website, www.georgiawoodbine.com. I have lots of videos there, lots of things to kind of keep you inspired. And I know we're going to end, but I wanted to say quickly what I have been noticing, Bob, is that, I don't know if you know, but in springtime, there's a lot of cherry blossom trees. And I see a lot of them around. They're usually white in color or pink in color. Yeah. And most people don't know that cherry blossom trees are a symbolism of renewal. It's
a new beginning.
It's a new beginning, and that's what we're having. It's a shift, but it's a new beginning.
There you go. So embrace that paradigm shift. All right, yes. Georgia Woodbine, give us a website one time.
www.georgiawoodbine.com.
There you go. Lifestyle transformational coach, author, and speaker. And I didn't forget about your book, BS.
Yes.
Body and Soul.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
Take care. Georgia Woodbine, lifestyle transformational coach and author and speaker. We'll take a break right here and come back with more. Welcome back. Our next guest is someone who we've all seen in and around our community. And now, during the COVID-19 pandemic, she is bringing this work online, bringing it inward. Joining us to share more, we have Bharati Kamaraj, founder of Bharati Dance Company, and the Bharati Foundation. We welcome you.
Thank you, Bob. How's everything going?
Good. Well, as good as we can expect from doing what we're doing under these conditions, the COVID-19 pandemic. So tell us some of the wonderful things that you're doing. I love your background. I love all the things all the way around you. Talk about it.
I'm actually in my Hindu temple, the Vishnu Mandir in the Bronx. It's a staple in the community, and it's where almost all of our programs has started as an initiative and has grown. With the Bharati Dance Academy and the Bharati Foundation, we started something in 2016 called Books with Bharati.
Yes.
It's not just myself reading, but also we got different community members, different individuals from NYPD elected officials, and just everyday neighbors to go out to a center and read to the kids. And it was a way to bring the community and the youth together, but also to share much needed resources. So we had things such as giving out school supplies and books and pajamas to the kids, as well as people who chipped in, and we were able to buy and supply food and groceries to individuals, and also give a little stipend to the students. It's growing so much that even though we're going through the coronavirus pandemic, in the background you hear the sound of the ambulance, and that's just become something of the norm.
A lot of us are kind of used to it right about now. Yes.
Yeah, so it's like the music to our ears while we're home or wherever we are. But we do give our gratitude, thanks, support, and prayers to all the essential workers and all those at the front line. But this has also encouraged us to do a little bit more, not just to sit at home or work from home, but also think outside the box. And how can we help? How can we still do community outreach? How can we still engage with the community? And one way we found of doing that was kind of relaunching Books with Bharati, but instead of going out there, we're now coming into everyone's home by recording these book readings by different individuals.
Well, it has a ring to it. Books with Bharati. It has a ring to it, sure.
Thanks. Well, hopefully one day we'll get you to read a book and we can put it out there.
Sure, I got a number of them. Look.
Yeah, and it's any stories that are touching to anyone who's reading it. So these books are written by the readers, and it's a way of expressing themselves while engaging with the community and still having that human touch. And we're just excited to do it again via social media. And what's even more exciting is that we've kicked off a new section of it, and that's a poetry corner.
Oh, great. Yeah. So how does it work? How does it work? You reach out.
We're going to have different artists who have written their pieces or are going to be reading something that was written by someone else. And we're going to record those. They're going to do their videos from home or wherever they are, and they're going to send it in. And we're going to kind of do a little write-up and post it out there on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. So it's going to be exciting, and it's already touching so many homes. We launched the first book, which is called Wish, and that was about an elephant family wishing for a child. And even though they didn't get the child at first, they continue with their everyday life. And it kind of is important during this time because there's so many people that are wishing for something, and some of them may or may not get their wishes to come true or become reality. But the truth is, the fact that they still kept the hope, and in the end they did get a child. In our everyday life now, we're wishing for a cure. We're hoping and praying that all those that have lost a loved one find peace with COVID-19, and those that are fighting the fight right now will survive this. And we are all in this together.
Yeah, I know, but with all that's going on, different religions are saying different things to their congregation. And one message that you would like to send out to the Hindu congregation, if you want to call it a congregation, what would that be?
Honestly, we've closed our doors to the temple for our congregation for mass gathering. But because we're fortunate enough, my dad passed away last year, and he was the founding member, along with several others, of this Hindu temple. We've been here since 1996, and he's always kept the doors open. But because we had to close for this, that doesn't stop us. We're living right next door. So every day we still come over and do what we have to do. And our message is to keep your hope, keep your faith, wherever you're praying. We're still praying for you without a congregation. And you can do the same from your home, because we're all praying from our heart. And I think no matter what religion we believe in, what God we follow or talk to, the truth is, when we pray, it sincerely comes from the heart. And I know that God is listening.
Yes, I feel that. And I know you're going to do greater things after COVID-19. So what's the view? What's the picture? Where do you want to take it from?
Get back out there in the community. So right now we're launching the social media version of Books of Bharati, introducing the new poetry corner. We have a hashtag campaign that's coming out for our frontliners, which is going to be amazing. So I'll talk to you about that in the future. But once we get back on track, we know that things will not be the same. But we are hoping to definitely do the outreach and be able to provide all the resources we used to and do the hands-on. So that's the vision and mission, and we hope we can get back to that where we actually are able to see and interact with the community.
I'm loving it. Where can we reach you for more?
So on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, the handle is Bharati Kamaraj, BharatikEmraj, and you can just search that handle and find us and send me a message, inbox me. 99% of our programs are 100% free, and this is one of them. So take advantage of it.
There you go. Okay. Bharati, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and you've come such a long way. Congratulations.
I know, from being in the studio and producing with you to, working out here and doing what we got to do. But growth is all a part of life, right? But I still take all the memories I have with me.
Oh, there you go. God bless you.
Thank you. Same to you.
And we'll talk to you soon. The God in me recognizes the God in you. All right, we'll take a break. Bharati Kamaraj right there. She's the founder of Bharati Dance Academy and the Bharati Foundation. She has the books and the whole world of stuff getting ready to come right behind that. Watch out. Here we come. All right, we'll take a break. I've got more coming up next.
We built a media network for you.
BronxNet TV.
Come learn in your new state-of-the-art studios at Lehman College.
At Mercy College.
And coming soon to the South Bronx in the Hub.
Inspire with your stories, culture, history.
Your Bronx on BronxNet.
Engage with us.
Connect with us at your channels and at BronxNet.tv.
Learn, engage, inspire. BronxNet TV.
From the Bronx
to the world.
BronxNet.
Hey, sports fans, welcome back to another episode of Open. And today our guest is a good friend of mine, Emmanuel Rhubari. He's the Yankee beat reporter for WFUV 90.7 FM. And he's got some new news, too. He is now the new sports manager for the program. E-Man, thanks for coming on the show and congratulations.
Thanks, Bobby. Appreciate the words. And thanks for having me. Always fun to do this.
Very exciting. I think it's big news. I know that you got some really good kudos and congrats on Twitter from some big names, including Michael Kay and Chris Carino. And Michael Kay, of course, was a former sports manager for WFUV.
Yeah, very nice of them, of course, to reach out. It all becomes kind of like a big family. They were all in the shoes, walking the halls of FUV at one point and understand what a special place it is. So really nice of them to take some time to give the congratulations. And it was awesome for someone like me to hear from them, of course.
Yeah, of course. And FUV, like BronxNet, I think is a special place because it also combines a lot of professional working people with college students and interns. And FUV, of course, now is a 50,000 watt radio station here in the Bronx, housed at Fordham University. So even though you look 30 years old, especially with this beard that you got going on a little bit, and you happen to be almost 7 feet tall, just kidding. You are just a junior, going to be a senior after this summer heading into the fall at Fordham. So right now, we wanted to have you on the show to not just talk about the sports landscape and a little bit about the Yankees, but also what this process has been for a college student having your spring semester cut short. And I think a lot of people have probably heard you on the radio as the leading voice for Fordham football and Fordham men's basketball. So what is it like to have those winter and spring seasons also cut short too, E-Man?
Unlike anything we've seen, Bobby, and we talk so much about the impact it's had on athletes, some seniors unable to play in an NCAA tournament for the first time or maybe the last time, and then some spring athletes not getting to play their season at all, and some of them in between losing a year of eligibility. From our vantage point, we were getting ready to do that second round Fordham men's basketball game in the tournament at Barclays Center. They were set to play Duquesne. And then everything just kind of shut down right at that point moving forward. NBA got suspended. And then they were looking to play that second day of tournament games nationwide, and that was not to be. So from our perspective, it took away a spring season. And of course, sports seems so secondary right now. And you think of people just staying healthy and staying safe. But from a student's perspective, a lot of seniors just not able to finish their college careers the way they would have hoped.
Yeah, that includes actually a young man that you're replacing as the sports manager, Charlie Maizano, who's done such a great job, and he's a senior. And he happens to also be in the same class that I teach. I don't know if the fans at home are aware, but I'm the sports director, of course, for BronxNet and also at WFUV. So a little bit of a special treat for me today because you get to pub both places. But I'm just excited about having you on, E-Man, because again, I think the collaborations that BronxNet and WFUV have been able to do lately are really impressive. I mean, the news director, George Bodarky, and some of the news students, including Nat Migliori, have been able to come on and update communities about what's going on. And BronxNet has really been very active in trying to keep the borough abreast of what's going on during this COVID-19 pandemic.
It's always great to see the work that the news department puts out on a daily basis, award-winning department, and they have such a great collaboration with BronxNet. And then what we were able to do last year with the Ram with Coach Gately, highlighting a hidden gem on the campus of Rose Hill in the Fordham women's basketball team. And that instantly won awards 2 years in a row. So really exciting to see that level of collaboration, bringing a video element to the kind of behind the scenes radio work that's done at FUV, a listener supported station. So it's really exciting to see all the time, and especially a platform like this during this time when you wouldn't necessarily get the same content you normally would. I think it highlights the excellent work that's being done.
You are the reigning Marty Glickman Award winner, which is Best Play-by-Play, sharing that award with your friend Dominic Capone at WFUV. And if you can, just give us a little bit of an update on what this process has been from an announcer perspective. I know you mentioned about the athletics, but you also were set to call that playoff game. So I know it's been a tough time for you.
Certainly, and you look around the nation with the various announcers who are getting set for seasons or in the middle of a season, whether it's at the NCAA, college, or pro level, it's nationwide. So it's almost like you're suddenly halted and not doing the games, but you also recognize that this is a nationwide, worldwide pandemic where everyone doesn't have the ability to do games. So I think that's been the unique aspect of it, something we really haven't seen throughout our lifetimes. And moving forward, you look forward to the fall, hopefully, where you could reboot and potentially start doing some games again. Major League Baseball, college baseball, trying to figure out some things over the summer as well. But really, it depends on the curve and the flattening of the curve, per se, of this pandemic to make sure everything's good to go and nothing kind of resurfaces when sports come about once again. So everyone's certainly eager for the sports to come back. We're eager to call games, but at the same time, it has to be all hands on deck and everyone ready to go by the time that happens.
It'll be interesting to see if baseball can come back. Do you see baseball coming back soon?
I'm not sure about soon. I certainly hope it's back this season. At a certain point, you wonder, okay, if it drags on into the summer, the later summer months, whether they decide, is it worth it to have a season at all? Because you don't want it to be too abbreviated where it's almost a not legitimate season. And with this entire pandemic, it's been a ripple effect. So when we first heard the news of it, okay, a couple of games were postponed. And then that led to a couple more games. Then everyone realized, okay, if we're not going to have conference champions, how can we not have a NCAA tournament? So there were a lot of decisions to be made like that. With MLB playing in Arizona, it's very logistical. How do you get the players there? And then how do you make sure they're safe at all times while they're in that confinement? And then, again, no fans, but you got to get broadcast crews over there. You have to make sure that all those regional networks are taken care of. So if they're able to account for all of those avenues, would be great to see. And I think everyone would have their eyes locked on baseball, whether there are fans there or not. I think people just want to see sports in play right now. So maybe not soon, but I could certainly see if everyone does their part in the social distancing in a couple months that we have baseball.
When we talk about this now at this point, what do you miss the most about baseball?
I just miss the action. I think when you look at it from just a pure standpoint, you see people tweeting, I just miss the 6-4-3 double play. I just miss the routine pop out to shortstop. Like, there are so many pure things about these sports that you just miss when you're not watching them every day. And again, you don't appreciate things sometimes until you no longer have them.
The Yankees on paper coming in, I think with the Dodgers, were the top two teams that were expected to potentially meet in the World Series. Give me a forecast for the Yankees this year, and then also what impact do you think this pandemic could affect on the Bronx Bombers?
You look at the Yankees, they were a well-rounded machine entering the year. Now, you did have some setbacks in spring training. Luis Severino out for the year, regardless of whether there's a season, with the Tommy John surgery. Aaron Judge, someone who could be benefiting from the break. He had the injury to his ribs. We had all that stuff revealed from last September that we didn't necessarily know about. Could he be back? Could Giancarlo Stanton be ready to go when the season starts? But aside from those hiccups, there were a lot of things to like about this Yankee team entering the season, including some of the more marginal role players like a Jordan Montgomery earning a fifth starter role. He was cooking in spring training. A Jay Happ was ready to go. Garrett Cole was ready to go. And if it's a shortened season, there's more room for error. If you slip up for 10 or 15 games, you can't have it covered by September. No, you have to get out of the gates hot and blazing and then kind of cruise to the finish line and then get to the postseason. So there's a lot of unknown with this Yankee team now. Even though the talent is certainly there on paper, I'd still put them as a World Series favorite if it's an 100-game season as opposed to 162. Very much looking forward to the day where we can all, turn on the TV, have a nice meal with the family, and watch a baseball game. If everyone's safe enough to play sports and we're safe enough to watch them, I think that's a great indication that we're on the better part of this. And that's the goal, because so many families, so many lives are being affected right now.
Hey, man, thanks for taking some time out. I'm sending my best to you and your family. Hope everybody's well at home. Congratulations on being named the new sports manager at WFUV, and I hope to see you at that Yankee press box sometime soon.
Bobby, thanks so much for having me. Appreciate it, and always great to talk.
Thanks, E-Man, and we'll be back with more Open after this.
Welcome back. Our next guest challenged himself to run 72 miles in 72 hours with the goal to raise awareness of COVID-19. And joining us to share his story is Paul Bamba, the founder of Trifecta. We welcome you.
Hi, nice to see you.
Paul, 72 to raise $72,000. Explain.
I was inspired by David Goggins. He ran 48 miles in 48 hours. It's something he challenges himself to do every year.
Yeah.
With everything going on with COVID-19 and stuff like that, I thought to make it a little bit harder, but at the same time, try to find a big goal that we could give back and help. And that's where we came up with the 72 and 72 while raising 72.
You ran 72 miles in 72 hours. Did you raise $72,000?
I did not. We're about at almost 13 right now. So we're still currently raising. Hopefully it starts to funnel in over the next week or so, but we're still shooting for it. But I completed all the miles, and I completed 73 miles in about 68 hours.
Paul, I'm going to give you this camera right here. I want you to just ask for your 72. That 72, I don't know the significance of the 72, but you can explain it if you want to and just ask for it, and hopefully you'll reach that goal.
So basically what we're asking for, 100% of the funds are partnered up with the Robin Hood Foundation. So 100% of the funds go to COVID-19 relief. So that's what I ran for. I ran a mile for each dollar I was trying to secure, basically. We have a link on trifectastrong.com/72in72 where you can still donate. And again, 100% of the proceeds are going to the cause. There's a lot of people that need help, and this was my way of giving it back and paying it forward.
Yeah, trifecta. Yeah. So, the funds that you raise, a lot of that is going to the frontline workers or essential workers.
Yes, all of it's going. 100% of it's being donated. So nothing's going towards paying salaries or anything like that. 100% of it is going to the actual cause.
There you go. All right. So you're working that body out. I don't know how you're going to do it during these times of COVID-19. A lot of things have changed, but how do you come out of this? What do you see? Where do you see yourself or your company like after COVID-19?
I think we'll fare pretty well. We're mainly like an online boutique anyway, as it was, so it wasn't really hard to adjust.
Yeah.
So I think we'll do fairly well. I think more importantly, like right now we're giving out free training. We offer over 50 classes per week for people at home and stuff. We don't charge for it. So it's more about giving back and like paying it forward. And then once everything resumes back to normal, like we'll resume back to normal as well.
Yeah. And trifecta, you work on what parts of the body?
Everything.
Mind, body, and spirit.
Sport, mind, body.
Sport, mind, body.
Yep. So we try to embody everything as a whole.
That's good, man. Yeah. And you want to say hello to your team?
Oh, yes. I'd like to say hello to my entire team and thank them for what they helped me put together this weekend. We did a great job and we raised a lot of awareness for it. And like I said, donations are still coming in as of today. So hopefully we reach our goal, and I appreciate you guys very much.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you're going through all this and everybody's like in quarantine and COVID-19 is going on and people around you are getting sick and dying, and you want to come up with something that will help others get what they need out of life. So this is something that you came up with, running 72 miles in 72 hours and raising $72,000. And we hope that you reach that goal.
Thank you.
Yeah. What's your website? Where can we go to get more information on you?
Trifectastrong.com-72in72-.
Do you hold your muscles together like when you say trifecta strong? Or you hold one arm up?
Not too
there
bad.
You go. Hey, Paul, thank you so much. Give me that website one more time.
Trifectastrong.com-72in72-.
Paul Bamba, founder of Trifecta. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Bob.
Thank you for your service. Looking forward to seeing more of you and what you do right after COVID-19.
Thank you.
You got it. All right. We'll take a break. I've got more coming up next on BL. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today's show. We'd like to thank you, our viewers, and our guests for tuning in and checking it all out. And we can't thank you enough. We have an attitude of gratitude. We thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you. Always remember this: what you are is God's gift to you, and what you make of yourself is your gift to God. So choose your choice. Let your choice control the chooser. Stay safe, stay in, and we'll catch you another day, another way. We love you all. Peace.